Yo, welcome back to another episode on the All Out of Bounds podcast. Chad, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? In this quick video today, we got the conference championship rounds coming up this weekend, and we'll talk about the what happened in the divisional rounds and go through those games and give a little bit of a predictions for the conference championships. Hopefully, we see the Super Bowl matchup we all want to see, and I think a lot of people will agree with me unless you're, the other team's fan. Understandable. I get it. If your team is playing this weekend, good luck to them. Only if they're the teams I want to win. If they're not, a Lions fan, if they're not a Ravens fan, sorry to hear that. Those are the teams I'm rooting for. So Ravens versus Lions is the matchup I think everybody wants to see. Hopefully we see that. Let's jump right into the new video and talk about some divisional round playoffs. So, Texans made it to the division round, played the number 1 seed Ravens. Ravens looked pretty dominant again, and like they have looked all year. I'm not saying that the Texans didn't show up to play. It looked like the Texans showed up to play, played pretty well in this game early on, especially. C.J. Stroud just wasn't able to get into a good rhythm. And kudos to the Baltimore defense. Lamar really didn't play like extravagant for like in the passing game wise, but he dominated on the ground. 11 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing for Lamar, and proves why he should be the most valuable player in the league by far this year. I will say the Texans getting this far is, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's great for their organization. I think it's great for DeMeco Ryans, great for C.J. Stroud, great for them in general across the board, right? You look at it across the board, it's like, well, who do I really look at and say is the best team in football? We played them. We scored 10 points on them. I think the Ravens easily are that right now. Especially going into the playoffs, we all like looked at that and said they are. So, I think the Texans look at that, score 10 points on them. We're in the game early, going at halftime, tied up, and it got out of hand in the second half. The Ravens made better adjustments, made more plays, and it's not a bad thing because I'll be honest with you, the Texans roster is very young. Offense looks very good. You're gonna get Tank Dell back after his injury. You're gonna get. You still have Nico Collins. You possibly can go get another free agent receiver. Maybe make a couple trades here and there. You got a great draft coming up as well. They draft well, as we all know that. They draft phenomenally well. So I think this team proves to you that you have the right people around certain people and believe in a lot of belief and structure. And good coaching can take you very far in the league, in the NFL for sure. A lot going on for the Texans in the offseason and good things going for them in that division going forward as well. Ravens playing the AFC Championship game this weekend at 3 o'clock, hosting it. And to be honest with you, it's going to be a tough game for them to even, for anybody who plays against them. Tough to play in Baltimore in general, just how cold it gets in the east, on the eastern part of the United States. But also on top of that, I don't want to face that defense, man. I gave really good, not great vibes from it, from like how good like Ray Lewis's defenses were, but they got a duo, man, and it's probably one of the, if it's not the best, it's up there, top 2, top 3 linebacker duos in the nation and in general across probably all of football, no matter where you look. But in the NFL specifically, you have the 49ers obviously with Greenlaw and Fred Warner. But let me tell you what, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, that's a duo and a half right there. So I think it's going to come down to the Ravens, executing on offense a little bit better, running the ball a little bit more, and just Lamar Jackson making plays with his arm and his legs as well. I think a huge factor in this game is they're getting Mark Andrews back. Mark Andrews is able to come back after he broke part of his ankle. He had. I think they said he had some type of orthopedic surgery on it. Has rehab for the past, I think it's been 6-7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. He's been on, and kudos to him to be able to come back and do that, because that's not easy, not easy at all. I honestly think that the Ravens have a really good shot to make it to the Super Bowl and even win one this year. They have the right formula to win football games, not only in the playoffs, and also the right formula to win games, win the Super Bowl. Running the football a lot, you play really good, strong defense against the rush, but also against the pass. One of the best safeties in football, Kyle Hamilton. I like him a lot. I think he's a stud. He gets overlooked a lot, in my opinion. First, I think he's a Pro Bowler this year. I think he's also an All-Pro as well. I look at the offense and their aspect of being able to run the ball. Gus Edwards got to get moving early. Lamar's got to get moving early. You got to get some of these guys that you have. And you might see Dalvin Cook a little bit more. He provides a little bit of a spark and a little bit of acceleration in the offense, I think, a little bit more. So you might see him a little bit more in this game as well. I do like this game a lot. They end up playing the Chiefs, which we'll go over the Chiefs game a little bit. But I think the Ravens have a little bit of an edge, obviously being home. It's not easy playing the Chiefs ever. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, that duo, we know how good they are. We know how good Mahomes is in the playoffs. We know everything. We know everything about all that. It's not a secret, right? It's not a secret at all. But what I will say is that what I think the Ravens have that the Chiefs don't have is, I think, the Ravens front seven on defense is arguably one of the best in football, meaning the D-line and linebacker core, against a very good offensive line in the Chiefs, but I do think the Chiefs' offensive line is a little weak again. I'm not saying they're very bad. I'm not saying they're horrible. I just think that there aren't the strongest suit of the Chiefs' offense. I do think the Ravens will take it home. I'm hoping they do. I'm rooting for the Ravens. So let's go into the next game. That was last Saturday and it was Packers versus 49ers. Packers almost pulled it off, man. If it wasn't for their kicker, they'd probably be in the NFC Championship game this year. If they would have made that, they would have had at least a chance to possibly going into overtime and to possibly win the game. I'm not saying they would have won, but they would have had the chance. That kid hasn't been great all year. They might have to look at possibly getting rid of their kicker. And it's weird because it's Carlson's brother from the Raiders, and he's pretty spot on. Daniel Carlson is for the Raiders, and I don't know. Maybe he needs to take a little bit of a trip with his brother and help him out a little bit. But yeah, Packers, they lost 21 to 24. 49ers looked abysmal without Deebo Samuel. The offense just couldn't get in a really good rhythm. It seems like they run everything. If they don't have him, they run through CMC. They run through a lot of other people. The biggest thing, of course, we know the Lions end up winning their game. The biggest thing for 49ers is they run the ball very well. Their offensive line is one of the best in the country, in the NFL in general. But defense against the Lions, they stop the run really well. Green Bay doesn't stop the run that well. Lions stop the run really well. It's just, I think Brock Purdy is going to be able to, has to make plays in the passing game. Can Aiden Hutchinson and other pass rushers get after Brock Purdy in the passing game and in the pass rush game in general? Or is this going to be a giant blowout? Is the 49ers going to take complete control if Deebo Samuel does play, or are they going to be able to make plays here and there? For the Packers, losing this game, you shouldn't even have been here in the first place. Beating Dallas and getting this point is massive in your own right, in my opinion. They have a lot of talent on that team that's super, super young. The youngest team to ever win a playoff game. And I honestly think the Packers are here to stay for a pretty good amount of time. Jordan Love proved toward the end of the year he played like a top 10 quarterback in the league, and he might even stay in that conversation going into next year, depending on what happens elsewhere. He looks very, very good with no-name receivers. Christian Watkins was hurt all year. Romeo Doubs is decent, but he's no elite guy. Same thing with Jaden Reed, who's a rookie this year. These guys were no-name guys. Then you have two really good tight ends that are rookies as well. The draft, the way the Packers draft, the way they coach is very, very good. They're high-end, high-end coaching staff that the Packers and Matt LaFleur have, and front office as well, because of the way they draft as well. Packers aren't going anywhere. Like I said, they got to fix a little bit of stuff on defense, maybe fix that rush defense a little bit, revamp the offensive line a little bit, maybe a little bit more, and I'm telling you right now, I think they're going to they're going to be a lot of favorites next year and for years to come. And it was right under the Lions as well. They're not going anywhere. So as long as other teams around them don't get better, don't get worse, we'll see what happens. But Niners going into the NFC Championship game, I think they're great. Home field advantage, obviously, for them. I just like the way they're playing, like, defense. It sometimes scares me a little bit because you're letting Aaron Jones had 18 carries on 108 yards. They ran the ball over you. What do the Lions like to do? They can run the ball, and they're gonna run the ball down your throat. I'm telling you right now, if they allow over 100 yards on rushing to David Montgomery and even one or the other to him or Jahmyr Gibbs, you have a duo and they're gonna run the ball more than Green Bay does. I'll tell you that right now, because Green Bay was down in this game as well, and I think the Lions might have a lead at some point. I like the offense if they have Deebo Samuel. If they don't, it takes a lot of their playbook out. Moving Deebo around, having a guy that could be like a wild card on your offense is massive in the NFL. Not only massive, but it's, dare I say, it's key. You have guys like Deebo. I mean, the Saints use Taysom Hill all the time like that as well. But Deebo could do it all, and he's a very, very good playmaker. I don't want to root for the 49ers in this game. I really don't. I would love for them to lose. I love the Lions. I like the run that they're on this year, and they deserve it more. Speaking of the Lions, they played the Bucs last week. Really good football game. Baker Mayfield came to play. Threw 2 picks late in the game. Kind of the last one cost them. They could have had a possible drive to tie the game up. But I give Baker a lot of props this year because he came out of nowhere, got job last for 6 teams in this. The only first round pick to have 6 teams in his first 3 or 4 years. Let me tell you what, he proved himself. He should get a contract with it doesn't matter what team he gets a contract with, but he should get a contract somewhere this upcoming offseason. His stats this year are incredible. In this game alone, 349 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like I said, he did those 2 interceptions. But one was early, and then, like I said, one was at the very end of the game, which, yes, you might look at it might have cost them a little bit, but did it really cost them? I don't know. It's yet to be seen, you know what I mean? So, the Bucs, no one thought they would be here. Nobody thought they were going to be. People had them for 4 or 5 wins, possibly. I had them for, I think, at the most 6 or 7, being maybe second or third in that division. I thought the Saints were going to run away with that division, personally, but that's why you play the game, of course. But when you look at it, we look at it and say, playmakers around Baker Mayfield, including Mike Evans, including Chris Godwin, including the defense that the Bucs have. Devin White, Devontae David, Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, a lot of guys. I mean, Antoine Winfield Jr. is a stud safety, one of the best in the NFL for sure. I like the foundation that the Buccaneers have. They just need to build on it and maybe find a franchise QB that they think they could have going forward if they don't think Baker's the guy for them. Because this was a good year. You went 9-8, but that division's not going to be that bad all the time. So, can you win the division 9-8 every year? Who knows? I don't think so. Not going forward for sure. But again, that's yet to be seen. So, for the Lions, they play in the NFC Championship game. I love them, man. I'm rooting for them for sure. I hope they get it done because I like to see them make a Super Bowl, and I definitely would be rooting for them for sure. Their key to this game is you got to establish the ground game. The offensive line's got to come, and trenches got to come nasty and ready to dominate the line of scrimmage. If you dominate the line of scrimmage against 49ers, it's proven they're going to win. Look at the Browns. The Browns dominated the line of scrimmage again earlier in the year. They won on both sides of the ball. So I think if you do that alone, you have a good chance of winning. I think you're going to have to make plays. Jared Goff's going to have to, get the ball out quick, let the pass rush get after him. I think the offensive line of the Lions is underrated as well. Some of the best guys in the NFL are on that. Penei Sewell, for one, I think he's one of if he's not the best right tackle, I think he's the best right tackle in football. But you watch film on him, that dude is a fucking beast, man. So the Lions, like I said, key to victory for them in the NFC Championship game. Establish the line of scrimmage with the running game, dominate up front. Defense-wise, you got to get after the passer. Got to fluster Brock Purdy in some aspect, either by blitzing, covering certain guys, and you have to be able to stop the run game on defense. Got to stop CMC. You might be able to limit them. I'm not saying you're going to stop them completely, but you got to be able to limit them. Drop those carries down to 1 to 2 yards of carry. Put them in third and longs situations. It makes it a little bit harder for Brock Purdy to make plays. I like the Lions in that game. I do really like the Lions. I think they can make enough plays. I think they have a lot of motivation. They're backing their fan base and their city, and I honestly think that they're going to play well. So, and then the last game of last weekend was the Chiefs versus the Bills. The Bills had it, man. They truthfully did. Feels bad for them because I was hoping they would win. It was a lose-lose for me. I didn't really want to root for either team, but I obviously have to root for the Bills on that. I'm a Broncos fan, never going to root for the Chiefs. And, of course, the Chiefs win, go to the AFC Championship game, which is crazy because Mahomes has been in every single AFC Championship game ever since he's entered the league. So ever since he became a starter, which is kind of nuts if you think about it. So I think it's 6 in a row for them, for the Chiefs, and that's just fucking mind-boggling. I think for them, going against the Ravens, it's Isaiah Pacheco show, man. They're going to be able to establish a run game. They're going to be able to do this and that. Mahomes is going to do his own thing, right? He's going to get the ball to Travis Kelce. He's going to get the ball to Rashee Rice. They're going to use different formations to be able to do what they need to do. I think Pacheco and the running backs are the key in this because if Pacheco is able to run the ball hard and do it all game type of thing against the Ravens defense, it wears them down. It gets them a little bit tired, and then Mahomes can facilitate and do what he needs to do for receiver-wise and passing-wise across the field. Chiefs' defense is great. They played very well. I think they get exposed this weekend. I think they get exposed in the run game, but then they get exposed by Lamar Jackson in the pass game, especially with tight ends, especially with Mark Andrews, especially with Isaiah Likely. I just don't think they have anybody to cover either one of those guys. And I think personally, if I was John Harbaugh, the offense coordinator for the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, that whole tight end room, I would be feasting alive, like waiting for this game. Because I think you could use a lot of double tight end looks with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews because I think they found a fucking gem in Isaiah Likely, first of all. He's been there for a couple years now, but he's blossomed into a fucking great tight end. And I think he might even, if he doesn't get a contract from them, and he might go somewhere else and get paid because we all know Mark Andrews is top 2, top 3 tight end in the NFL for sure. So he's not going anywhere. They're always going to keep him. If I know money wise or whatever, they'll pay him as much as they possibly can. He's one of the best in the game. However, Likely being the reason why I'm saying this is because you say you put 2 tight ends on one in the slot, one on the edge of the line. You can run the ball on that. You have an extra big body on the field to be able to pass the ball to. In the red zone specifically, I'm talking about Isaiah Likely with multiple touchdowns in the red zone this year, as well as Mark Andrews. We all know how good of a red zone threat he is and the big play threat he is. I just think it's a matchup nightmare for not only the Chiefs but any defense. Personally, right now the way they're playing, it's incredible. It's actually incredible. So, but for the Bills and the Chiefs game, 27-24 for the Chiefs over the Bills. The Chiefs, they got to be able to stop. Like I said, going off of that, the Chiefs got to be able to stop those tight ends going into the AFC Championship game. They got to be able to establish a running game, and in this game they did. Isaiah Pacheco had a really good game: 15 carries, 97 yards, 1 touchdown. Mahomes finally got the ball to Kelce. Man, Kelce had big plays: 5 catches, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Mahomes just got into rhythm early and kept it going the whole game: 215 yards and 2 touchdowns passing. The Bills, the Chiefs are the Bills' kryptonite, man. It's unfortunate to say for the Bills and for Bills fans, but you haven't won a game against the Chiefs in the playoffs. You can win in regular season all you want. It's not gonna matter. We all know the playoffs are what matters. 1 and 2. I don't know what it is with the Bills, man. They're right there. They made a good run at the end of the year. I don't know if it's like what the Broncos did, you know what I mean? They had John Fox, who made it to the playoffs multiple times with Peyton Manning and couldn't get the job done. You make a switch to Gary Kubiak next year, you win. Are we seeing that? Could we see McDermott be gone? Because I mean, I don't never want to put a guy down and have him lose his job because he made it to the playoffs. Like that's just outrageous, obviously. And we all I thought it was outrageous when we got rid of John Fox too, but I actually like the move. You can't get the job done. You have one of the best rosters in the NFL. Like, I think Joe Brady did a phenomenal job with their offense after Dorsey was fired. I thought he was even better. It was one of the best ones. It lowered the turnovers from Josh Allen. It lowered the turnovers in general. You got James Cook more involved in the passing game. You got more people involved in the passing game. Yes, Stephon Diggs may not have big games. They have no other receivers in that organization. Get rid of them. Go draft more people. Go pick up guys that are going to be pass-catching wide receivers for you. Because tell you what, Josh Allen's going to be able to throw the ball to him. Because they want to throw the ball with Josh Allen's big arm. And that's, I don't blame him. I really don't blame him whatsoever. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You want to be able to run the ball and then play action off of it and throw the ball off of that. It's a great formula to win games. It really is. No doubt about it. But you got to be able to have playmakers around him. I think they have Dalton Kincaid for the tight end for the rest of Josh Allen's career. I think that he's a stud. I think he'll be a great target. They can let Dawson Knox go if they want. They can keep him if they want to use him in bigger packages, whatever. But I think you got to go and you got to see what you can get for Stephon Diggs and see what Stephon Diggs can bring you like a first round, maybe a couple second round picks. Even swap another wide receiver with him. Go and pick up another guy. I don't know. Something. I just think they need a change. They need some type of change within the Bills organization, either on the roster, coaching-wise, whatever it is. But they have a lot of promise. They have a lot of promise every year, and they do this thing where they shit the bed every year too. So who knows what's going to happen, right? All right, and then you got the conference championship games. Of course, we all know those. Ravens versus Chiefs, like I talked about. Picking the Ravens. I don't see anybody beating them at home. It's just simple as that. Lions versus 49ers. 49ers are close, man. It'll be a close one. I like the Lions though. I think they established the line of scrimmage early, and I think they win. I think Jared Goff has to protect the football and plays well. As long as the offensive line can hold up and get him some give him some time and stuff. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I like. That's my picks for this weekend. Hope you guys enjoy the games. AFC Championship, NFC Championship game. Hope you guys get the matchup that you want for the Super Bowl. And, like we always say, pitter patter, let's get at her and let her rip, tater, chip. I'll see you in the next one.